show you how to make Yorkshire puddings and toad in the hole. We're going to do some little mini toad in the holes with a few extra little special ingredients in. If you're cooking them for kids, they'll love the fact that they're little mini ones because you can give them just one portion. It's nice and simple. But for adults, they can just have 2 or 3 or 4 or however many they fancy. So I'll give you a quick show of the ingredients you're going to need today. So for our Yorkshire pudding mix, you're going to need some plain flour. Only use plain, don't use self-raising or bread flour or anything, it just does not work. Whatever milk you normally have in the house, you're going to need a couple of eggs, some salt and some pepper, some sausages which I've already pre-cooked and they've been cooled in the fridge for your toad in the holes, a container to mix your Yorkshire pudding batter in, if you've got it, a stick blender, if you haven't I'll show you a different way of doing it, and then a few extra special little ingredients just to make it a little bit more interesting. We've got some nutmeg, some onion granules, some garlic flakes and some English mustard. So we're going to start with 2 eggs into your container. Now when you put your eggs in, mine have come up to about 100 millilitres up the side of the container. So I'm now going to put it up to 200 ml, so the same amount of milk goes in. So to there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get the stick blender. Plug this in and we're just going to give it a little mix up quickly. Once that's I've just given it a little mix just to combine the egg and the milk together, leave your stick blender in and then just start putting in your flour. I'm going to go with 2 tablespoons to start with. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep going until this is the same consistency as double cream. The great thing about using a stick blender is it stretches all the gluten in the flour and that's what gives you Yorkshire pudding its lift and keeps it up when it's finished cooking. If you haven't got a stick blender, just do this with a normal whisk, preferably the night before or at least a couple of hours before. Leave it in the fridge and the gluten will naturally build up overnight and then your Yorkshire puddings will rise as normal. But I've got a stick blender so I can do this straight away. So I've given this a couple of minutes blending. I did actually add in another egg and the equal amount of milk again. I still haven't added any other ingredients. So I just want to check the consistency. If you're not sure, just dunk a spoon in, run your finger across and it should hold its line for a couple of seconds before it starts dribbling down. And that is pretty much how you want it. Once you're happy with your consistency, now we're going to add all our seasoning. So I'm going to go with a good couple of turns of salt and pepper. If you want, you could just chuck a vegetable stock cube in it. We'll do the same thing. And then we're going to put in the tip of a teaspoon of nutmeg in. We're going to put in a teaspoon of onion granules. A teaspoon of garlic granules. And about 1/4 of a teaspoon of mustard. If you want, you can use Dijon mustard, it's not as spicy, it's up to you. Now you don't have to add all of these extra bits in, you can just go with salt and pepper and be done with it, and it'll be absolutely fine. But if you add all these extra bits in, it just makes it even nicer. Now we're just going to carry on blitzing this up with a stick blender for another 5 minutes to get all that gluten stretched in there, make it nice and strong. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, rather than making a big Yorkshire pudding or toad in the hole, we're going to make them in little muffin trays. I've got these little silicone ones, they're super easy to get out. You can get these which have got a rigid edge so they don't flop and bend around. If you've got one of these ones, I find one of these old chip trays, nice and easy to get it in and out of the oven, so we're going to use that. We don't need to put any oil in there. We're just going to cut up our sausages quickly. You can use whatever sausages you fancy. If you want to use some spicy chorizo ones, they'll be nice, and Lincolnshire sausages, Cumberland, whatever you want. And then what we're going to do as well, we've got a little bit of caramelised onion, red onion that I cooked off earlier. So we're going to put a little bit of this in the bottom of each mould. Yet again, this is optional, you don't have to do this. And as well, if you wanted with these onions, you could cook them down and braise them in a bit of beer if you fancy. I was going to do that, but I don't have any beer at home at the moment. So we put that in there, so you can see there's just a little bit in each one. And then we just pop in 4 bits into each one. So now you've got all your little bits of sausage in your tray. Now what you want to do is get your batter mix and pour it in. Don't go all the way to the top, go about 3/4 of the way up. And then all we need to do is pop those in a preheated oven at 180 to 200 degrees. Once they've puffed up, if you're on 200 degrees, you can turn it down 10-15 degrees, cook them out, and away we go. As you can see, I ended up with a little bit of Yorkshire pudding batter left over. So 2 eggs would have probably been fine for my trays, but it depends on how many you're making. You may need it, you may not. So once you've got everything all ready, all you need to do is bang it into a preheated oven. Now take about 20 minutes to cook, and then we are ready to go.